A 42-year-old man is behind bars in connection to the homicide of his 48-year-old girlfriend. At 11:23 p.m. on Friday the 9th of June, authorities responded to a home along the 2340 Blockerberg Road in Detroit, Michigan after Stacey Smith was found deceased in a bedroom. Authorities said she had been fatally strangled, stabbed in the chest with a knife, and her left leg had been partially burned. Upon further investigation, detectives identified Stacey's boyfriend Cortez Xavier Coleman as a suspect in a murder. Authorities said they believe Cortez tried to cover up the crime by burning Stacey's body with lighter fluid before fleeing the scene. On Monday the 12th of June, police located Cortez and he was arrested. On Thursday the 15th of June, Cortez was arraigned in court via Zoom on a first-degree murder charge. He pleaded not guilty to the charge and he's been held without bond. His preliminary hearing is scheduled for the 12th of July. Stacey survived by 2 teenage children, Kaya and Keith. The motive in the attack is unclear as the investigation into the matter continues. A 61-year-old man is behind bars for fatally beating his 69-year-old roommate. At 8:45 p.m. on Friday the 2nd of June, authorities responded to Heritage Place Adult Living Center at 1372 Eufaula Road in Statesville, North Carolina, after facility employees called 911 to report an assault. When deputies arrived, they found 69-year-old Mark Gray Leggett conscious, but suffering from significant trauma after being beaten in the head repeatedly with a blunt object. Paramedics rushed Mark to the Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center for emergency medical care. Investigators interviewed witnesses at the scene and recovered evidence. The victim's roommate, Gregory Gerald Warner, who was still on scene, was identified as a suspect and was immediately taken into custody. Gregory was transported to the Iredell County Detention Center and was charged with felony assault inflicting serious bodily injury. A week later, on Friday the 9th of June, authorities learnt that Mark died while at the hospital. On Monday the 12th of June, an autopsy was conducted by the medical examiner and it was determined that Mark's death was caused by injuries received during the assault. That same day, Gregory's assault charge was upgraded to first-degree murder and he remains in jail without bond. Gregory has a criminal history and has previously been convicted for indecent exposure. The motive in the attack is unclear as the investigation into the matter continues. A 61-year-old man is behind bars after he was found living with the body of his roommate for several days. On Friday the 9th of June, authorities responded to a residence at 4th Avenue West in Sipsey, Alabama about a dead family member inside the home. When deputies arrived, they found Leandrew Smith Jr. living inside the home with a man's body for days without notifying authorities of his death. The deceased man has been identified as James Edward Royal. James's 17-year-old grandson made the discovery and reported it to authorities. Leandrew was arrested and charged with abuse of a corpse. He remains held at the Walker County Jail on a $10,000 cash-only bond. 45-year-old Robert Morarity is accused of killing his wife, 42-year-old Kimberly Kellum and their 11-year-old daughter, and hiding their bodies in a garage for months at an abandoned rural residence. At 8:30 a.m. on Monday the 12th of June, Kimberly's brother-in-law called the Wise County Sheriff's Office and said that no one had seen her or her child for months. He told the 911 operator his sister-in-law was living off of County Road 4371 with Robert in Decatur, Texas. He also said the couple had 3 children. Deputies went to their home, finding it abandoned. No one answered when they knocked on the door, and a walk around the property found no one at the address. The next day, at around 6 p.m, a sheriff's office investigator, the Texas Rangers and several Dallas police officers located Robert in Dallas, more than an hour away from the Decatur property. They questioned him while his 2 children, aged 10 and 3, were beside him. Investigators said at first, Robert said he hadn't seen Kimberly or their daughter for about 6 months. Eventually though, he told the investigators that they were dead, and their remains were in the garage of the home deputies originally checked out. The children were released to Child Protective Services, and Robert voluntarily returned to Wise County with a Wise County Sheriff's Office investigator and a Texas Ranger. They went to the home, where he pointed out where the bodies were. Sheriff Lane Atkins said the bodies were covered and stowed away in the garage, and it wasn't hard to find them. He said they were covered with blankets and clothing, and had been stowed away in the garage for quite some time, probably 5 to 6 months. We don't know exactly what the motive was, or exactly how they were killed, but we know it was at his hand, he said. Detectives located 2 knives at the scene. Robert was arrested and charged with tampering with a corpse, murder and capital murder. He's held at the Wise County Jail on an $800,000 bond. The bodies of both victims were sent to the Dallas Medical Examiner's office for an autopsy. The investigation into the matter continues.